All right, great. We are going to go ahead and get started this evening. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alex Miller, and I will be leading the public engagement outreach for the Kansas City Water Upgrades on Main project running up and down Main Street. I did want to go over a couple of quick ground rules before we get too far into things. I'll go ahead and advance the slide here. Um, Again, welcome this evening. I just want to say we really appreciate everyone's patience and understanding. Typically, in non-COVID days, we would have a big public meeting, a couple of them on the Main Street corridor where this project is taking place. We'd have sign-in sheets, big boards, plot maps, sticky notes, chocolate chip cookies, all those good things. Obviously, just with the nature of the pandemic, we cannot have those big in-person events. So, we're doing this virtually. So we appreciate your all's patience as we try to get better at hosting virtual public meetings. I do want to go ahead and point out now that this meeting is being recorded and it's also being broadcast to YouTube Live. Just so you're all aware that this is being recorded this afternoon, and it's also currently being broadcast live on the Kansas City Water YouTube page. So thank you again for joining us. So I do want to give you a quick rundown of kind of what you can expect from this presentation this afternoon. So we will go over the presenter introductions and let you meet some folks on our team. We'll go over the project area for the Upgrades on Main project. We'll talk about the water main work, the sewer work, and then also private utility work. You might have seen this private utility work start already. If you've driven up and down Main Street recently, you've probably started to see a lot of this construction work starting to happen. And then I'll talk about how all that work kind of relates together with the Kansas City Streetcar Extension project. We're then going to talk about the project schedule and then how you, members of the public, can stay as informed, up to date as possible, and how we can help each other out and give you all the best information we can throughout the duration of this project. So this is the critical part here for the question and answer. We're going to ask, since we have so many different presenters in so many different locations, that we hold all of our questions to the end of the presentation. So what I recommend doing is, if you have a question even right now, or if you have one halfway through our presentation, you'll notice at the bottom of your Zoom box, there is a chat feature. Go ahead, if you have a question right now, I highly encourage you, go ahead and type that question in now. And then when we get to the end of the presentation, we will answer those questions that were in the chat box in the order we received them. And then if time permits, if you're more comfortable speaking verbally and not typing out your question, as time permits, we will allow you to raise your hand and we'll take you off mute. And you can ask your question verbally. The way you do that is you'll notice the participant tab. Right now we have 44 participants. If you click on that, you'll see an option to raise your hand. So again, we will do all of that question and answer at the end of the presentation. But I do encourage you throughout this presentation, as questions pop up and you don't want to forget them, go ahead and type those questions in. So we'll go ahead and get started. So I did think it was important for our folks that are presenting today. We have a very large project team. We have a lot of very dedicated men and women who are working on this project, and to put all their faces on one slide, it wasn't going to happen. So these are the folks that are presenting today. I thought it would be nice if you could kind of put a face with a voice. So we have Jerry Stevens from KC Water. He is the project manager. We have Kwa Nguyen, who's also with Kansas City Water. He's a sewer systems engineer. Again, my name's Alex Miller. I'll be leading public engagement on this project, along with my colleague, Taylor Rippey. So she'll be helping out as well. I'll go ahead and go to the next slide. And I'll go ahead at this point and hand it off to Jerry Stevens, KC Water project manager. And he's going to talk you through the project boundaries and some other specifics of the project.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us and getting up to date on what's going on with Main Street. This is a project that we're undertaking, and the boundaries for the project are on the north end of Pershing Road, and on the south end is 51st and Brookside. The work will be along Main Street from Pershing to Emmanuel Cleaver, and then shifts over to Brookside from Emmanuel Cleaver to 51st Street. You'll see a lot of utility work being done there, and so we have a lot of work to do. Next slide. Getting into the water main replacement, in particular, we are going to be replacing over 21,000 lineal feet of water mains. That's a little over 4 miles of water mains that we'll be replacing. And these are sizes of mains 6-inch through 42-inch. So we do have a lot of different size mains, and we are using the state-of-the-art, believe it or not, for water mains. And these are, we're replacing the cast iron water mains that are in there now with ductile iron water mains that are zinc coated for to stop the corrosion control, and also wrapped in plastic so that they are protected as well. So these water mains are going to last for a long, long time, at least 100 years, maybe 150, and hopefully they won't have to be replaced during that time. Next slide. As we are replacing the water mains, we're going to also replace the service lines to the right-of-way line. You will be getting a new service to the right-of-way line with a new shutoff, and depending on the size, how that will work. There's going to be some additional survey work to find the old trolley tracks. One of the obstacles that we're going to encounter are the old trolley tracks. So we're going to survey that ahead of time to locate those so that we can get prepared when we're in that area to replace the water mains and the sewers. We're going to put in all new valves and hydrants so that we have full control over the distribution system, and new hydrants so that we have better fire protection in conjunction with the new water mains. We're going to be relocating the meters to the outside where possible. This gives us an opportunity to work on the meter and do anything that we need to do, possibly shutting off the service line outside of the facility in case of emergency inside. We need to shut the water off. We will be relocating meters to the outside where possible. Next slide. I'm going to now turn it over to Kwa, who is a sewer engineer, and he's in charge of the sewer rehabilitation. Kwa?
Thank you, Jerry, and hello, everyone. My name is Kwang Nguyen, and I will be going over the sewer portion of this project. So just to give you a quick overview, we have about 24,000 linear feet of sewer pipe that ranges from 8 to 84-inch in diameters, scheduled for rehabilitation. And in addition, we will also be relocating an additional 4,200 linear feet of pipe away from the streetcar track so that we can continue to maintain our sewer system if needed without having to interrupt the sewer operations. So as we go along the streetcar corridor, we will also be rehabilitating existing manholes by spraying the manhole with cementitious materials. And then we will also be replacing the storm drains as well as rehabilitating all service laterals all the way to the right of way. Now, one thing to note is that during pipe installation, you may experience service disruption. So during that time, we ask that you limit the use of water to prevent unnecessary sewer backup. That being said, the contractor will notify you in advance prior to pipe installation at your properties. Next slide, please. So on this slide, I will be going over a couple of rehabilitation methods performed by the contractor to give you an idea of each type of rehabilitation methods. So first up, we have cure-in-place lining. And what that is that you can think of it as a flexible materials that get blow up like balloons. And it can get inverted from one manhole to the other, and then pressurized steam is being used to blow up the material while curing it at the same time. So when it is done, you'll get a new pipe within the existing pipe. We also have open cut excavation, which is required for us to relocate existing sewer away from the streetcar tract. And then the last three rehabilitation methods are optional and may or may not be implemented by our contractors. So we have spiral wound pipe, which is another form of trenchless rehabilitation method. And it is a flexible PVC material with locking mechanism. And that is being winded by a machine in circular motions. So as the machine spins, it locks the edge of the PVC material together to form a new pipe. Pipe reaming or pipe burst uses a cylindrical hammer that attaches to the new PVC pipe. And as the hammer gets pulled from one end of the manhole to the other, it breaks the old pipe while leaving the new pipe behind. So you get a completely new pipe in place of the old pipe. And then slip lining is an older form of trenchless rehabilitation methods, which use sections of pipe in smaller length, and that is being joined together to make a complete sewer segment. And with that, I will pass it on over to Jerry to go over the schedules.
Okay, we wanted to bring you up to date on the schedule of what you can expect in the next months to come. Construction will begin in late October. We've got a contractor that had the lowest and best bid, Kissick Construction, and we're in the process now of having the city council approve the contract and get them on board with all the necessary paperwork to get them started by late October. This project is anticipated to take 2 years from one end to the other. You'll see a lot of construction and utility work going on as we do the water main replacement and the sewer rehabilitation, starting at Pershing, progressing to the south. And then we will, most likely, the contractor will have multiple crews working at the same time, along with other utilities. So we are going to coordinate all that so that one construction crew is not on top of another, and most importantly, we don't interrupt traffic and hold traffic up for any long period of time. Main Street will remain open to one lane of traffic in each direction. There might be some short interruptions. As any construction area, especially in a congested area like downtown on Main Street here, that is going to be a challenge for us. But we will intend to keep one lane of traffic open in each direction at all times. Next slide. Might ask, why is this project important? For many reasons, actually. Casey Water is in the process of replacing all the water mains in our water distribution system. This will be a large part of that. It has transmission mains which carry water from one part of town to another, down to water mains that provide fire protection and water service to all the businesses and all the residents and facilities there. This will increase our service reliability, cut down the number of main breaks, and just have it so that once we get the water main installed, that it would be very reliable. Like I said, we are using the best system, water main system that we can that is available for us today. And then ultimately, this will pave the way for the streetcar extension. You may have heard about that, and we're really excited about that. Of course, before they can put the streetcar tracks in, we need to get all the underground work done first. So that's where what we're doing, getting ahead of the streetcar installation. Next.
Yeah, thanks, Jerry. So just to continue on what Jerry was talking about the, we'll talk about the streetcar project. here in a minute. But yeah, we do have, and if you've driven down Main Street recently, you've seen these private utility, you've seen the private utility work started. This picture here next to Gates was just taken a couple of weeks ago. So when we say private utility, what we're talking about are the Google Fibers, AT&T, Spire Gas, those folks. That's what we mean by private utility. So we've got a lot of people working in this corridor. So we're going to have 15 different private utility companies working up and down Main Street throughout the duration of not only Kansas City water work, but also the Kansas City Streetcar Extension work as well. So even though Kansas City water work right now is anticipated to take about 2 years to complete, that utility work will continue past KC water work. Those utility companies are going to be doing a lot of the same work Kansas City Water is. They're going to be upgrading their old infrastructure and moving it out of the way for the eventual Kansas City Streetcar Extension tracks. So this is the important part here as well, is that this work is going to happen in waves. Meaning I'm really excited for the streetcar project. You as a business owner or as a resident might be really excited for the streetcar project, excited to have upgraded water and service lines and everything like that. That is exciting. But it's not as simple as just coming in, laying streetcar track and leaving, right? This is going to be a long process. There is a lot of work to get done. And most of this work is happening underground. So it might not be easy to see when progress is being made because so much of the work that is happening is underground and not necessarily above ground. So we do appreciate your patience. So this work is going to happen in waves. So, you know, 1 week, for a few weeks, you might have Google Fiber or a Google Fiber contractor in front of your storefront moving their equipment. They'll close everything up, and then a month later, 2 months later, you might have another private utility contractor come in and then move their items. And then Kansas City Water might come through. So this will be a very long process. Work is going to happen in waves. And so we thank you in advance for your patience, for your understanding that to have the great progress that we want to have, it is going to take a lot of work. And so this next slide here that myself and my colleague Taylor will present, we want to show you all the different tools and all the ways that we've tried to set up really clean, easy communication channels. So that way everyone can stay as informed and involved as possible throughout this process. Oh, I forgot the big piece of this, the Kansas City Streetcar Extension. I did this last night as well. So the Kansas City Streetcar Extension project, you might have seen in the news, they recently received $50 million from the FTA. So design right now is about 60% complete. The anticipated completion for that project is in 2025. Now, if you want to learn more information about the Kansas City Streetcar project, they have a great webpage. It's kcstreetcar.org. And then when you get on the main page, you'll see a tab for Main Street Extension. Go ahead and click on that. You'll be able to see all the documentation that's been sent to the FTA to date, all the design plans. There's also a really cool simulation video, if you haven't seen it yet, that kind of simulates what the Kansas City Streetcar will look like going up and down Main Street. I do want to go ahead and point out that we do have a member of the Kansas City Streetcar Authority on the line today. So if you do have any streetcar related questions, we have the local resident expert on all things streetcar. So feel free to go ahead and chat those questions or save them for the end. We are more than happy to answer those streetcar questions today as well. So how are we going to keep you all involved, and stay in the know, and how can everyone be as informed as possible? There's a lot of work going on. So first and foremost, we have established a project hotline. This hotline is live and active right now. This hotline sits on either my desk or my colleague Taylor's desk. So this is really what we're here to do, is to answer this phone and help with any construction related issues or concerns or questions. So if you have a question or a concern, please, for your safety, for our workers' safety, really for everyone's safety, don't walk onto an active construction site and ask one of the construction workers, what they're doing there or how long they're, anything like that, because chances are it could be one of the 15 different private utility contractors, right? We've got a lot of people, a lot of different people moving parts on this corridor. So please just give us a call because if we don't know the right answer, we know at least the right construction managers, the right field crew managers who we can call directly and figure out issues and concerns. So we monitor that hotline 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. So again, give us a call, shoot us an email at the email you see here on your screen, water.upgradesonmain@kcmo.org. It's a great way to get a hold of us. That's what we're here to do, is to answer those questions and to help mitigate what will be a long construction process. We also have a project webpage. Taylor here in a minute will talk about the different ways you can use that project webpage to stay informed, but it is kcwater.us /upgrades on Main. On that webpage, you'll see an option where you can sign up for a weekly construction update. So here on the right is an example of kind of what that will look like. This is just an example over here on the right-hand side. So what we'll do is every Friday at noon, we will push out all the work that's happening the following week. So important to note, this weekly construction update will start when Kansas City Water work starts, again, projected late October. So as soon as that Kansas City Water work starts, that is when we will start pushing out the weekly construction update. You can also follow Kansas City Water on social media, at KCMO Water at Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You can follow them there. And I do want to offer this as well. We are more than happy if you have a monthly neighborhood meeting, quarterly luncheon, business meeting, whatever it might be. We are more than happy to come out and present at those meetings. Even if you just want us to sit in the back and for the last 5 minutes, stand up and answer any general questions your membership or members of your organization might have, we are more than happy to do that. So please let us know. Again, either give us a phone call, shoot us an email if you would like us to come up present at any small group meetings. We are more than happy to do that. So with all that being said, I will now go ahead and hand it over to my colleague, Taylor Rippey, and have her walk you all through how you can navigate our project webpage and all the resources that are on it.
Hi, everyone. So yeah, what Alex was saying, this webpage is going to be an awesome tool to use throughout the life of the project. Everything that is going to come in those weekly construction updates will also be here on the website. So it's a great tool to be using. And we kind of want to just walk you through a little bit of what you can do. So when you get on the project webpage, which again is kcwater.us /upgrades on Main, when you get there, the first thing you'll see is that box to sign up for the weekly construction update. So just your email, first name and last name, and you'll automatically be signed up to get those emails. And that will include emails for anything like this in the future. That's where we've been sending some public meeting information. So it's a great tool to stay connected throughout the project. You scroll down a little bit more, you'll see the project map, and I'm going to dive into that a little bit more. We're super excited to be using the map. But before that, I wanted to also let you know, if you scroll a little bit further past that project map, you'll see what we call our project fast facts. So our project fast facts is just general information about the project, what it is, where it's happening, how long it's going to take. Since you all will be experts by the end of this meeting, you probably won't need that. But if you have a family, friend, colleague that has questions about the project, hasn't heard of it, I would definitely recommend sending them there first. So if we go to the next slide, I'll dig in a little bit more to what we can do in the map. So the map is going to be updated in real time with any information regarding construction. And it's broken out into 5 segments. So these segments don't mean a whole lot other than just organizing what work is being done. And those weekly construction updates will be organized the same way. So if you're, for example, working at the Federal Reserve, you're probably most interested in that first segment, which is Pershing Road to 31st Street. So when you go to see if there's any construction updates, pedestrian detours, lane closures, anything like that, you can go directly to that segment and see what's going on. So if you can see in the pictures on the left-hand side, there's a list of all of the segments. If you click on the segment you're interested in, it'll pull up that little pop-up box and it will list anything going on in that segment. And from there, if you want, you can actually use, there's a little magnifying glass. It's really small with a plus sign. If you click on that, it'll zoom into the segment, and the segment will show you, again, everything and where it is on the map. Right now it's empty because construction hasn't started, but that will be updated regularly. And then it's similar to using Google Maps or Apple Maps, where you can, if you're on your phone, use your 2 fingers and scroll in, scroll out, and you can see, what intersection that pedestrian detour is, if that's what you're most interested in. And then if we go to the next slide, there's one more really cool thing about this map. I would say this is probably my favorite thing, is that it can be translated into any language that Google Translate offers. So if you can see, Alex is hovering the mouse over that little green button in the top right corner. It's a little book with the letter A. If you click on that, it'll pull up that drop-down box, and it's all those different languages to choose from. And then so if you select Spanish, you can see that picture on the right-hand side, how everything is now translated into Spanish. So as that map starts to get populated with more construction information, that will also be able to be translated into any language that you choose from those options. So with that, I'm going to hand it back to Alex, and we're going to start answering some of those questions y'all had.
Great, thanks, Taylor. So we will go ahead and start at the top of the list here. I'm going to pull them up. I have, this will now be my third screen I'm going to open up here. So that way we can keep everyone on the same page. Let's see here. So the contractor performing the work, in case you missed it, that was our first question. The water work, that is Kissick Construction. That is who's performing the work. And then I'll go ahead and pass this next question to Jerry. We had a question: what is the longest period of time we may not have access to entering our Main Street parking lot?
That's a good question. Very good question. The contractor will work with the property owners to minimize any time that he is crossing in front of a driveway. And what he will do is put a temporary surface back after he puts the water main in, so that the driveway can be reopened to traffic, and then come back. There'll be somebody who comes back later and puts the final topping on there. But we try to minimize the amount of time that anybody's going to be interrupted in their driveway.
Then our next question, Jerry, while you're off mute, will you reach out to businesses in advance to coordinate road closures and service interruptions? If so, how much time in advance?
We mostly, depending on the kind of interruption, there's different kinds of interruptions, but some of the traffic patterns is controlled by the City Engineering Office and Public Works. So they will dictate to the contractor what kind of traffic patterns is needed. And like I said, we will try to maintain one lane of traffic in each direction. Now, when that directly affects the businesses and the residents, we try to give them at least a week notice to ahead of time that they're going to be affected, and give them time to prepare for that.
Great. Stephanie Roberts asked, and then Jerry, this is another question for you probably. Jeff Martin, feel free to jump on as well. But will work be done 5 days a week? And generally what hours? So how many days a week will work be happening? And then how many hours a day?
Depending on the contractor, we haven't really actually asked the contractor that, but we will allow, I think, 6 days a week. And we haven't exactly established what the times will be, but normally, they have to work during daylight hours for the most part. And we're getting into the wintertime. So the daylight hours will be less than summer times, obviously. So they will probably minimize the time frame and adjust them according to the daylight hours. Now, there may be times where we will have the contractor work at night with lights on and things like that, depending on the ability to minimize the interruptions of water service. So there, you may see some nighttime work as well.
Yeah, and I will add in on that too, Jerry, just as we get closer to that groundbreaking date, and as we get a clearer picture of what the actual construction schedule, or not the actual, but what that detailed project schedule will be. Our team will push out that information as soon as we have it, and we will work on putting that together as the I's get dotted and the T's get crossed on these contracts, and we have kind of that final idea of what the project's exact detailed project schedule will be. We will push that information out to you all, and we'll put it on the webpage. We'll push it out in the email updates and everything like that as soon as we have it as well. All right. And then it looks like this question was answered in the chat, but I'll go ahead and read it just in case anyone missed it. Is there an odor when the cured in place work is happening? Kwa, do you want to answer that one?
Sure. So yes, there may be some odor, but the contractor is going to be out there to control it. And in addition, they will provide instruction on how to prevent odor from getting into your properties by pouring water into your sewer trap within your basement.
Great. And we will notify everyone as well when that work is to start. So that way you kind of have an idea of when to start pouring water down those traps. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Awesome. Another question. Where can we learn what changes are being made to bus stops as part of the new streetcar line? Donna Mandelbaum from Kansas City Streetcar Authority is on. And do you want to go ahead and answer that one, Donna?
Yeah, sure. Great question. So, but all the Main Street Max bus stops will be replaced with streetcar stops. But during construction for the streetcar and during construction for the water work, Main Street Max will remain on Main Street. There might be some detours, and we'll have to learn about that as water proceeds with their work. But once the streetcar is in place, Main Street Max will move off of Main Street, and those resources will be moved to other routes that need public transit.
And then we did have a question. Who should I contact to learn the specific work happening to connections for my building? Give me a call on that hotline number or shoot us an email. And then let us know what your property address is, and then we'll be able to get you a better schedule. So go ahead and give me a call or shoot me an email, and we will let you know. If this sounds like a property specific question, so go ahead and reach out to us, and that way we can get you to the right person. Then the other question, and Bill Yord from the KCATA, he is helping with the private utility relocation. He's on the line. Bill, if you're still there, I do have a question relating to that. Are you working on both sides of Main Street or just one side? Bill, do you want to go ahead and take a stab at that? And then Jerry as well.
Yeah, I'd be glad to. There will be, we have a utility management team that is working with all the private utility companies and the water department in order to keep everybody untangled. And so in order to do that, what we're doing is we've requested traffic control plans from all the utility companies in order for us to be able to review them and vet them before they go for a traffic control permit to Public Works. And so that way we could kind of control where they're at and how long they're going to be there. And we're informing the public engagement team in order for them to post that information. And so that's how we're doing it right now. And yes, we will be having utility companies and the KC Water will be on different sides of the street as they progress from north to south. They've started pretty much on the north end of the project, and they're going to be progressing south. So right now you see a whole lot of activity from 27th Street to Pershing Road, and from in the Armour area north to Linwood. And as they complete that work, KC Water will be beginning at Pershing and going to the south. And then after KC Water gets done with their work, the Kansas City Streetcar the Kansas City Streetcar constructors will start their work also at Pershing and work their way south. The Kansas City Streetcar constructors track work will be taking place on the west side of the road first, from north to south. They'll go all the way down to 51st and Brookside. Then they'll turn around and work on the eastmost track, which is the northbound track, and proceed north from 51st back to Pershing. So they'll make a big loop. One thing I did want to mention as well is, as we identify areas around bus stops that are active on the Main Street Max, we are letting our transportation people know at the KCATA so they can post different alternate stops where people can stop if the stop is closed because of construction activity. So that's one way also that we're trying to keep everybody in the loop, including the KCATA transportation group, so they can keep everybody apprised. So hopefully that answers some of the questions.
Great, thank you, Bill. And you brought up a good point as well. Yeah, there's a lot of coordination. I don't want to miss our project partners. So obviously KC Streetcar, Ride KC, Kansas City Water, all the private utility companies. It's a really big coordination effort to get everyone on the same page and to make this project, to mitigate as many frustrations that come with construction as we can. That is all the questions we have in the chat. I will go ahead and pull up the participation link and see if anyone has raised their hand. If we have any other questions. Again, I did want to mention, if you have any coworkers, neighbors, friends, parents, siblings, relatives, if any that wanted to participate in the public meeting and did not get a chance to, forgot to sign up or anything like that, we do have another public meeting on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. You can still sign up for that public meeting if you would like. And again, this presentation today was it was recorded. It was broadcasted to YouTube. It will live on the Kansas City Water YouTube page as well. So if you want to go back and rewatch it or share the link with your friends or family, please feel free to help us get the word out. I'm looking here. Do we have any questions before we close down for the evening? All right. Okay. Well, thank you again, everyone, for joining us this evening. Last night, I was at my house and my dog started barking at the end of it. So I'm glad I didn't have that challenge today. Thank you all very much for joining us. Again, please feel free to reach out to us, call or email us, and we will get back to you. And so thank you all, and we're excited to get this project started. Have a good night, everyone.